What is happening, everyone? It's your boy Count Jinsolo. Welcome to another Pokemon Go video. Today I wanted to talk about a particular notorious YouTuber, and you may know who he is. He is Fsuatl. Now, recently he just announced that he was going to be taking a break from YouTube, and it's mainly because, according to him, it's because he wants to focus on his real life endeavors, whether that be his career or his relationship with his girlfriend. But I actually found this to be extremely interesting. Now, if you don't know who Fsuatl is, basically he is a Pokemon Go YouTuber that focuses on breaking the TOS, breaking the terms of service in terms of guiding people how to spoof, and he does a lot of gameplay videos and gameplay streams where he's spoofing himself. So it's interesting that he kind of suddenly decided to quit the game, especially because there's just a lot of stuff going on in the game right now. I think when it comes to Fsuatl, there has been a lot of notoriety attached to him, and it's mainly because if you look at his content, it is purely based on spoofing in Pokemon Go, and of course this is a very touchy subject, especially for legit players. A lot of legit players do not like the fact that there are players out there that spoof in this game, and of course if you have one YouTuber who is kind of like the representative of this entire community, well, you're gonna have a huge group of people who are going to be against his content. Now, on top of making spoofing videos, Fsuatl has also built up notoriety for basically criticizing a lot of other YouTubers who are part of the legit community. And of course, there is the infamous moment where he basically trolled Nick from Trainer Tips for his video talking about how life is not fair. And of course, this was kind of like the biggest mark for Fsuatl, which put him against the legit community, because of course a lot of people in the legit community really like Trainer Tips and everything that he's doing. So of course, if Fsuatl is to troll this one YouTuber, he's basically going to be going up against a big group of legit players, because Nick has a lot of respect in the legit community, and for him to troll him the way he did, that is of course going to build up a lot of notoriety and get him a lot of haters. Now, if you are in the legit community, of course this is a pretty big win. I think for Fsuatl to no longer be making videos for spoofing means there's going to be a much less of a voice for the spoofing community. Of course, even within the spoofing community, I found that a lot of players do not like Fsuatl just because of his kind of trolly nature. And if you ever watched any of his videos, of course, if you go to his channel right now, pretty much all of his videos have been taken down. Basically, he's just going gung-ho on this whole rebranding thing. But if you ever watched his videos, yeah, they can be a little bit polarizing because of his demeanor. I think a lot of players who spoof, a lot of players who are legit, they just don't like him as a person because he does come off as kind of like a cocky little kid. But honestly, that's just, I guess, how he is, and I can't really blame him for that. That's kind of like the persona that he adopted for his YouTube channel, and it definitely worked out for him. He did have a core audience, and he did have 800,000 subscribers, which is something that I cannot brag about. So yeah, regardless if you're a legit player or you are a spoofer, I think a lot of people are happy that he's no longer going to be doing Pokemon Go content. And honestly, for myself, I didn't agree with the guy, but I do have to say, like, if it is genuinely true that he is taking a step back from YouTube just to focus on his career and focus on his relationships, like, if that is actually true, hate him or love him, like, I actually have to respect that. So yeah, I may not necessarily agree with a lot of the things he's done in the past. I don't necessarily agree with the content of his YouTube channel. Like, I really don't think spoofing is a healthy part of this game. Like, I really think that the spoofing community has done more harm to Pokemon Go as opposed to help it. So, you know, I never really agreed with his content, and I'm honestly kind of glad that spoofing kind of lost a big voice, because, you know, I'm not going to hate on you for spoofing, and I'm honestly not going to tell you how to play the game. That's really your choice. I think you're putting the risk out there for a much less enjoyable game experience, so that's really up to you. But for Niantic to kind of win this battle against a particular YouTuber who has been kind of at odds with that company, I think it's a pretty big win for Pokemon Go as a whole. Like, I think it comes down to any game. Like, if they want to keep the longevity of that game intact, they have to deal with cheating as a big part of that game. Like, for example, Clash of Clans, I think they dealt with cheating pretty much straight on in the early parts of the game. Of course, that game had a lot of problems with botters and hackers and different things like that, but they really laid out the hammer pretty early in that game's life cycle, and you can see that the game is still going strong today. And for Pokemon Go, I really think for the longest time, Niantic has been kind of laxed when it comes to the whole cheating problem, and we're starting to see them take a no-tolerance approach to cheating. And I actually think this is something that we got to talk about, because it is very possible that Niantic put a stop to Fsuatl's channel just recently, and this whole rebranding thing is kind of like a front for Fsuatl basically trying to go out on his own terms. Because if it is a thing where Niantic is starting to go after the spoofing community, if they're starting to go after like Tutu apps, and later on we're gonna see the same thing happen to Jono and lifting zombies, different things like that, I think it's interesting that Fsuatl would basically go out like this, because it is kind of sudden, and a lot of players are a bit suspicious about how he is handling this whole rebranding thing. Because if you take a look at it from the surface, yes, it does seem like he's kind of tired with the game and he wants to try something new. And on top of that, he does have a lot of stuff going on in his life. Like, if you do follow his channel, you would know that he was studying in school and he was working towards getting a job and all that cool stuff. But I just think it is a bit sudden, especially the whole just privatizing or deleting all of his videos. Because as a YouTuber, I have done a lot of rebranding on my channel. Like, if you've been following me from the beginning, you would know that at one point I tried to dip my feet in a lot of other games. Like, I was doing Castle Clash from the beginning, but at one point I was doing like Hearthstone videos, and then I was doing like World of Warcraft videos, and none of those really stuck, so I didn't really go through with those. But I didn't delete all of my Castle Clash videos. In fact, I kind of just left them there, because people still were finding my channel through those videos. And if I was trying to rebrand myself, then maybe I could get a few viewers from those viewers who are interested in Pokemon Go content or whatever game that I'm trying to switch to. And I really feel like either Fsuatl is trying to wipe the slate clean, or it's definitely something involving Niantic taking legal action, and he's kind of forced to take down those videos. Otherwise, he would be facing a lawsuit. It's definitely possible, considering that the terms of service does allow Niantic to do something like that. I just think up until now, Niantic really hasn't taken any strong stances, but I think it's possible that with the loss of sponsorships recently, well, they are taking a much stronger stance against cheating, because the numbers that they were selling to these sponsors was definitely skewed because of spoofers. Because of that, I think they are kind of switching up their stance when it comes to cheating, and this might be one of those steps. I don't really know, but this is all just speculation. I mean, for all we know, it is really the case that Fsuatl is trying to rebrand himself, and he's trying to take some time off to focus on his career, his relationships, and different things like that. Which, honestly, if that is the case, I know I've said this already, but honestly, if that really is what Fsuatl is up to, I have to give him respect for that. Even though I don't like him as a person and I don't like his content, like, that is something that I encourage a lot of people to do, especially YouTubers, to just constantly self-reflect and make sure, like, if YouTubing is your hobby, make sure it doesn't bleed into the rest of your life. Because at the end of the day, like, YouTubing and Pokemon Go, all that stuff, it doesn't necessarily last forever. But your relationships with your spouses, your relationships with your family, all that stuff is forever. So you should really focus on that kind of stuff. Now, what does this mean for the future of Pokemon Go? Well, I actually think there's one of two things that can happen with Fsuatl quitting Pokemon Go. First and foremost, I actually think this could be detrimental for this spoofing community. I think this is kind of like the sign that the spoofing community is starting to decline, especially with the recent ban waves, with a lot of the difficulties that a lot of the spoofing app developers have been facing when it comes to trying to create an app that is safe to play as a spoofer. I think for the spoofing community to lose a big voice like Fsuatl means that the spoofing community is eventually going to decline. I think when you look at the spoofing community and what they've been saying and how they've been reacting to this, I think it's just creating a very negative sentiment for them as spoofers. So if you are a legit player and you want to see spoofing kind of disappear from Pokemon Go, this could be really big news. So yeah, and then of course the other thing that can happen is that nothing will change. I think there are definitely other YouTubers who can kind of take on the mantle that Fsuatl is leaving behind. Of course, there's Jono, who has become a huge voice for the spoofing community as of late. And of course, there's also Lifting Zombies, who kind of has like a less toxic approach to spoofing, which I can actually appreciate because, of course, with spoofing and with legit players, there's always toxicity on both sides. And I really feel like Fsuatl kind of fed into that. But at least Lifting Zombies, he does do a lot of spoofing videos and spoofing guides, but he's not as toxic as Fsuatl. So if there's going to be a bigger voice for the spoofing community, at least it's not someone who is just trying to troll other YouTubers. So I can actually kind of appreciate that. But yeah, that's really all I have to say regarding this whole Fsuatl quitting Pokemon Go debacle. I think for a lot of people, well, I really shouldn't call it a debacle. I guess it's a big win for people who are legit players like myself. And yeah, I do think this is a pretty big win for Pokemon Go. And of course, people who spoof and people who loved his videos are going to say that this is a terrible thing. But I honestly cannot agree with that ever, because spoofing is, in my opinion, always going to be very harmful for Pokemon Go and really has no place in this game. And if you really don't like the fact that I have to say that, well, I really can't say anything. I mean, that's really on you. But yeah, if you spoof, if you were a fan of Fsuatl or you were a big hater of Fsuatl, I would love to know your thoughts in the comment section below. This is a pretty big topic that I feel like a lot of people are not covering. I mean, obviously this all happened right before Community Day, which is also kind of suspect. I would feel like Fsuatl, if he was kind of going out on his own terms, that he would go out after a Community Day video just to kind of keep up some momentum for his channel rebranding. But it is what it is. I mean at the end of the day, I'm not Fsuatl. I don't know what's going on in his life. I don't know if Niantic actually hit him with a cease and desist. All of that stuff is just speculation at this point. But yeah, I think this is a pretty important topic that I think a lot of people in the Pokemon Go community are just not paying attention to. But it is what it is. So yeah, again, let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. And honestly, I want to see what happens to Pokemon Go after this, because this is a pretty big deal in my opinion. I really think this could be a really huge step to the demise of spoofing in Pokemon Go. So yeah, let me know your thoughts, and I would definitely like to see what happens from here on out. I hope you enjoyed this video, folks, and if you did, make sure you hit that like button. Share this with your friends, especially people who may not necessarily be aware of what's going on. And yeah, if you are a legit player or if you are a spoofer, definitely say so in the comments section below. I would like to see where everyone is when it comes to this whole topic. And yeah, if this is your first time here, make sure you hit that subscribe button, because I'm trying to make Pokemon Go videos every day. I do plan to upload my Community Day video. It's one you will not want to miss, because Beldum Community Day was definitely my best Community Day up until now, and it's something you definitely do not want to miss. So yeah, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit that bell so you don't miss out on that, and also some future Pokemon Go content that's really going to be exciting for me to make, because there's a lot of ideas that I've been coming up with for YouTube that I would definitely like to share with all of you. So yeah, that's going to be it, folks. I really hope you enjoyed it, and I'll catch you all later.